Lenny Kravitz,
How
dude,
are you?
thank you for doing this, man.
Pleasure. What's happening?
How do you feel? So last year, 5 sold out shows, and he just announced 5 new shows this year. How excited are you about this?
I'm really excited to come back. I had a great time. It's something that I've never done. Never done a residency in Vegas, and I wasn't sure what to expect, what the vibe was going to be, and I was pleasantly surprised. It was a beautiful celebration every night. Great people, great energy, and so I'm happy to be coming back.
We're excited that you're coming back. I think you have well over 100 songs, probably more. How do you decide what goes into each show each night? And is each night different than the prior night?
Every night feels different.
Yeah.
No matter what, the energy is always different. Your energy, the energy of the crowd. So it's never the same experience. So and we're gonna change the show up.
Okay.
We've been on tour all year, and we're gonna continue that as well. So the show is evolving.
Yeah.
We just got back from South America, did a sold-out tour from the top to the bottom of South America in stadiums and arenas. It was so much fun. Getting ready to go to Europe in February and do 2.5 months
Nice.
in Europe. So by the time we get back here, we'll have another vibe.
You'll be, all dialed in. Blue Electric Light, by the way. And it's such an incredible album.
Thank you.
2 songs on there that you wrote in high school that you put on this album.
Yes.
How was that process for you, recording songs that young Lenny Kravitz
Right.
wrote back in the day?
Well, it started because, well, let me go all the way back. I'd written a book called Let Love Rule that came out in the beginning of the pandemic when I started this record. And that book, it's about my life from birth until the first album. So within that book, I spent a lot of time exploring my teenage years. And I think because of that, because since I lived those years, I never thought about them as deeply as I had to in doing all the research. I think that energy somehow just came back, and Blue Electric Light is somewhat the record I would have put out if I'd gotten a record deal in high school.
Yeah.
The production value, the way, the songs, it's very close to what I was doing in high school. And in the case of those 2 songs, exactly the same thing I was doing in high school. So it was wonderful because you're moving forward, but at the same time you're going back
Kind
to
of a trip, huh?
something.
Yeah.
And it was really fun. It was a really fun record to make. In fact, even some of the instruments, some of the synthesizers and drum machines and things that I used on the record were actually pieces that I had in high school that I still had, which a lot of that stuff is lost now. But I had a few pieces of equipment that I used on the record that I actually used back then. Yeah.
Well, speaking of your music, Are You Gonna Go My Way turns 32 this year.
Wow.
Looking back on that song, what came first, the riff or the lyrics?
The riff.
Oh, it did?
The song was written in 5 minutes.
Was it really?
Yeah. That was myself and Craig Ross, my guitarist and my partner. And it, some things it's just a bolt.
Yeah.
And in fact, at that time, I was still booking sessions, meaning I didn't have the studio all day.
Okay.
You have between the hours of, sometimes it was 8 a.m. I just show up to the studio at 8 a.m., which is absolutely incredible. It was cheaper. It was when I could get in. And let's say it was 5 o'clock, that you had to be done. There's a band waiting to come in. So you've got to do what you got to do. And you got to get out. You have to respect the time. So this was recorded like 15 minutes before the session was over. So we knocked it out. I took the cassette home. Cassette, right?
Right.
And listened to it and listened to it and listened to it, not knowing, like, what is this? I love the vibe of this thing. What am I going to write on this? And then it just came a couple of days later, the whole thing. I wrote all the lyrics out on a paper bag. Went back to the studio the next day and recorded it, having no idea how important this song was going to be for me. Yeah.
Well, I remember, which I love sitting here with you. I remember going back to seeing your videos on MTV on like the Buzz Bin, this new guy, Lenny Kravitz, and the music videos. When was it for you? Do you remember that moment when you realized that my life has changed and it's not going to be the same.
Well, Are You Gonna Go My Way? I mean, it was a fight to get that on MTV. And then when it did, they'd play it like at 2 a.m. or something like that, And the promotion staff at Virgin, I mean, everybody was fighting, pushing radio, pushing MTV, and we thought, okay, this may not happen. And then just from one day to the next, something kicked in.
Yeah.
And the thing never went away. I mean, it just became what it became, which was a monumental song for that time. And still.
Still is. I remember hearing it for the first time in my car, driving, windows down, turning up, like, this is...
Were you were in your mom's car seat?
No.
What was it? What do you mean you remember? You remember listening to that in your car,
I was driving then, yeah. People always talk about you and Slash. You guys went to high school.
We went to high school together, yeah.
But I heard a story. Is this true that you didn't realize the connection until you were on stage?
No, it was... I went to the American Music Awards.
Yeah.
Dick Clark. I guess it was when I'd done Let Love Rule.
Okay.
Yeah, I just had Let Love Rule out. I think I'd been on tour. I was the new guy, and I was sitting in my seat in the audience, and Guns N' Roses was sitting in front of me. And I kept looking at this guy. I was like, I know this guy. Yeah, I know he's in Guns N' Roses, but I know this guy.
Yeah.
And finally, we started talking, and wait a minute, did you go to Beverly? He's like, yeah. So we both went to Beverly Hills High School, believe it or not. I didn't live in Beverly Hills. I don't know if he did at that time, but I got in for my music, and it was called the Multicultural Program at that time. They needed some flavor in the school. And we went to high school together. And then, we started our friendship up again, and then we ended up in the studio together doing Always on the Run, which we wrote together, and also a track called Fields of Joy, which he played a solo on. So we got to work together, and that's how we became reacquainted.
Wow. I know I got to wrap up, but I got one more question.
Yeah.
And it ties in with someone you work with, and I don't know if you can answer this or not, but there's a rock urban legend about you and Prince, and that you're actually backup vocals on a Prince song. But Prince never said which song it is, and you refuse to talk about it.
Yeah, there's several things, but funny, I just saw this the other night on Instagram. Somebody had, not about me singing on it, but this video popped up, and I thought, it's really amazing that no one's figured this out yet.
Really? So you're on a couple songs?
It's really obvious. It's really obvious, but I guess it's obvious to me because I know.
Yeah, no one knows. It's ungoogleable. You can't find the answer.
And it's loud and obvious.
Really?
Yeah.
You tell us off camera?
Can't tell you, man.
Lenny Kravitz, we're excited to have you back in Las Vegas. Thank you so much, my friend. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Brother.